Good evening to those people calling in from Israel. Good afternoon to those people calling in from North America and other parts of the world. It gives me great pleasure today. I'm here as well with our chairman, Zaki Rakib, to be able to share with you our second update as far as the performance of the business underneath my leadership. I made a commitment to all of you as I came on board that we would be continuously updating you on the performance of the business. And I'm very excited today to share with you some significant updates as we continue to execute on our growth strategy. I'm going to ask people during the call to please, if you have questions, please send it through to the chat. I think we have about 25 to 35 minutes of presentation maximum. And then we will have a good 10, 15 minutes, if not longer, for questions. And if you have any questions, please send it directly through to me on the chat. So with that, we will start our second shareholder update and our growth strategy, specifically focusing on our growth strategy update. Obviously, we have to share all forward-looking statements. Great. A very famous psychiatrist, Carl Jung, came up with I think a beautiful phrase. And Carl Jung he was a Swiss psychiatrist who actually was the founder of analytical psychology. And Carl Jung said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." And I think this saying is very, very telling for the stage of the business that we're at now, as we move to execute on our growth strategy. And for myself and the team, it's all about execution. It's all about focusing on executing on the key pillars of our growth strategy. And what you're going to see today will give you the trust and confidence that we are able to continue to execute on our strategy following the announcement we made 4 or 5 weeks ago, where we shared with you the significant announcement of our new 20-ton manufacturing facility, which will become operational in early third quarter next year, which has a dramatic positive impact on reducing our cost of goods. I want to just remind people of the key growth pillars of our growth strategy, just so it's fresh in your mind, because I'm going to take you through some significant actions that we've taken to execute on that growth strategy. When we talked about our superfruit nutraceutical, it was all about making sure we had a focused route to market on 3 specific verticals, as we balance the needs between driving significant volume and scale of operations, as well as driving significant margin. And we see that as we execute a B2B strategy, very focused on food and beverage companies, which will derive significant volume and penetration of our nutraceutical brands amongst consumers, with acceptable margins. But as we move to the right and we go B2B2C to major nutraceutical companies, multi-level marketing companies, we still have significant volume, but our margins do improve based on our ability to command greater pricing to these specific manufacturers. And as we move to B2C, we're able to bring significant margin oxygen into the business as we go direct and reap the benefits of the full value chain directly to the consumer, albeit smaller margins. And similarly, when we look at our cannabis business, we were very focused on 3 verticals, 3 routes to market: B2B direct to CPG, to major consumer packaged goods companies, leveraging hemp-based CBD with THC less than 0.3%, and then working with the major converters, the major extraction companies. That is our desire to work with them as we move through our scale up And then obviously, as we build the gold class of cannabis, we want to be servicing pharma with the unique cleanliness, consistency, and the right complex of cannabinoids that we're able to bring to the marketplace. So with that context of our growth strategy, today's journey is going to focus on 4 key areas. One, and many of you may have seen already the announcements we made a few hours ago, a major B2B and B2B2C route to market partnership with our friends at Batory Foods. And I'm going to go deep on this today. And we're also very, very lucky to have the president of Batory Foods, Vince Pinneri, joining us today. And Vince will have an opportunity to talk to you during the presentation, as well as will stay around for the Q&A. We've also made significant progress on the manufacturing side with our partner Orihan at Sugat. Over 4 weeks, drastic progress as we move quickly to start the scale up. In addition, I'm going to share with you where we are in our exciting news on our B2C website in Israel and a few other corporate updates. So let's first talk about the execution of our B2B and B2B2C strategy. We're really, really privileged to be able to partner with a major player in the US market, the leading food ingredient distributor in the USA. We have worked over the past few months on signing an exclusive sales and distribution agreement with Batory Foods. And with their leading capacity in the marketplace, they are the perfect partner to give us access to the market and provide us with a significant competitive advantage to reach the critical scale and customers that are looking for better health and wellness solutions to provide their consumers who are consistently demanding more health and wellness credentials from the brands and products they consume every day. Batory Foods, as I said, is a leading food ingredients distributor, but they also are one of the top 3 companies in the nutraceutical and beverage ingredient segments of the market. So impeccably strong in food and as well as in the nutraceutical and the beverage side on all 3 fronts that are so important as part of our pillar strategy. And you can see that this partnership really takes care of the 2 left-hand pillars of our strategy, B2B and B2B2C, giving us that important competitive advantage that other players in the market don't have. And similarly, in the area of cannabis, allowing us that access to the growing demand of CPG companies for consistent, fingerprint consistent, clean, hemp-based CBD that they are able to put through their supply chain based on their heavy quality requirements. This allows us to focus on our most critical market, the US, which is roughly 13% of the nutraceutical ingredient global market size. And it gives us the opportunity to go after in the US $16 billion opportunity as it relates to specifically food, beverage, and dietary supplements in the US. And then when we look at hemp-based edible CBD market in the US, it's a market today which is just over 2 billion, but will be growing significantly over the next 5 years to close to 8 billion. This is edible CBD market. So we've been really, really focused on sharing with you the size of the prize in the specific areas that we have a license to operate and a license to sell based on the unique credentials of our brands and our products. With our partners at Batory, a 43-year-old business, generational business, we have access to over 5,000 customers across major segments like dairy, bakery, candy and confectionery, beverages, and broader health and nutrition and other food spaces. And just to give you a sense of the significant relationships that Batory Foods has with major bastions of their specific segments. We're talking about major players like Kellogg's, Nature's Bounty, Herbalife, General Mills, Orgain on the nutritional side. Really, really powerful players that we will now have the relationships with to be able to drive the introductions and the conversion through our sales funnel. And these are customers today that are looking for better for you health and wellness solutions every day for their consumers, with products like Vinia and our olive-based nutraceutical and pomegranate-based nutraceutical, which are in our pipeline, offer these critical credentials, in addition to the significant future around hemp-based CBD with THC levels less than 0.3%. They have an unparalleled supply chain network, warehousing, sales capabilities across all the critical population centers of the US, and bring to the table best-in-class sales and distribution capabilities. This is their major warehouse network in Illinois that we see here in the picture. We're talking about a serious operator that has really embraced us as an important partner for their business. The next steps for the Batory team are focused on Vinia. From next week, we start with sample preparations for key customers, working together with Vince and his team on adapting all of our marketing materials, providing the important in-depth technical training for their key sales team members so they understand our portfolio, they understand our unique competitive advantage and our point of difference in the marketplace. And then in Q4 this year, it's all about making it happen with some critical lists, being very surgical of going after key targeted customers. I want to at this stage introduce Vince Pinneri. Vince, as I said, is the president of the company. He comes with tremendous experience in the overall food and beverage business. Was a serious operator at Tate & Lyle, which is one of the largest global providers of food and beverage ingredients and solutions. He understands the industry given his food and beverage background, and also served nearly 30 years with the Coca-Cola company across multiple geographies. I'm going to allow Vince the opportunity to speak, but Vince, before I do that, I just need to I have to admit some more people on the call. It's a new feature in Zoom, so just give me 1 second. Okay, Vince, just give them 1 minute as we admit all the people. And for those people that have now entered about 13 minutes into the conversation, we will be posting a recording. It'll be on our website, as well as the recording will go out. The link will go out to all our shareholders. So you can actually catch up and understand the power of the Batory relationship as we bring our brands to market in the US. Okay, Vince, I'm now going to unmute you, and then please take the table, and it'd be good to share your excitement here with the rest of the audience. Go ahead.
Thanks, Ilan. Good afternoon, good evening, and maybe even good morning in some cases for everyone on the call. Firstly, I'd like to thank Zaki and Ilan for allowing us to participate in this investor call. As the president of Batory Foods and as the representative for the Friedman family who own Batory Foods, we're really excited about this opportunity. It fits perfectly into our overall growth strategy for the next 5 years and beyond. And it is a very aggressive growth strategy as we look to diversify our portfolio, leverage our infrastructure and capabilities, but more importantly, related to the portfolio is find technologies and partners that we can develop the sort of relationship that we have agreed to sign up here, which is an exclusive performance-based agreement where we're in it together. And as Ilan said, we're certainly very excited about, you know, the remainder of the year where we start to get into the work and look at where we go with Vinia. I'm sure this announcement will create a lot of noise and buzz with our customer base. So we're going to have to hold some people back in terms of their excitement around finding out what we're doing. We are that excited about this opportunity that, like you guys, we're investors in BioHarvest, and that's part of, you know, the Friedman family ethos. It's a quite entrepreneurial company for the size that it is. As Ilan said, it's 40 plus years from a startup, and it's still a family-owned company. It is and will remain a family-owned company with those strong family values. And we have an ethos which is we want to be small company special, but big company execution. And to Ilan's point early on, we want to see ourselves as the best-in-class sales and distribution execution organization in the US. That's our aspiration. And certainly, you know, working with BioHarvest, we think we can not only service our existing customers, but expand our customer profile, you know, not only with the nutraceuticals, but also with the cannabis. So extremely excited. We're really looking forward to, you know, getting in and starting the work, and then primarily the customer engagement, which will be an exciting journey as people get to sense and feel the science that exists here, because that's the key that certainly attracted us, was the science and the patented technology. So again, from Batory's perspective, very excited about the partnership. It is exactly where we want to be and the way we want to operate with vendor principles. So again, thank you for allowing me a short period of time. And as Ilan said, when we get to the Q&A, feel free to ask me whatever questions that you want to.
Thank you, Vince. I really appreciate the kind words. Okay, I'm now going to continue to the other sections of the presentation. Obviously, the manufacturing for us is very critical. The 20 tons plus of manufacturing capacity that we expect to have for the business commencing early Q3 next year is a major focus for the team. Ori Han and his organization from Sugat have been working around the clock. I'm sharing with you now just a video of a rendering. This is actually the 1,100 square meter facility that we have. You can see, as you know, very clean, very aseptic environment. And obviously what goes in here is quite confidential based on the way with a unique biofarming technology that we have, but it just gives you a sense of the size and the scale. And this is actually real renderings working together with our manufacturers for the walls, for the ceilings, and all the key components that have to be built. All the work is happening across the critical verticals as far as, you know, the water systems and all the other infrastructure that we need. And I must say, I'm very, very happy with the progress of the team. Here you can see Ori with the team just working through. These are actually real pictures from a few weeks ago as we start to understand operationally how all the pieces of the puzzle will fit in. So again, this is on track. Obviously, you know, our intent, if we can, is to actually deliver earlier, but the timing now that we're focused on is early Q3 2021. If there's any updates on that, we will let you know. But bottom line, good progress, and we really have an amazing partner there working with us. I'd now also like to talk to you about the Israel B2C website launch. I touched on this the last time we spoke. This is a very important part of our business because obviously, you know, the building of capabilities in the company as we advance ourselves from being an R&D company to being a R&D company with a very strong and focused commercial organization. The building of B2C e-commerce capability is so important in the world of dietary supplements. Dietary supplements is one of those categories that actually has the highest percentage purchased via e-commerce channels. So it's been very important for us to build the capabilities and the knowledge and the ability to be able to execute perfectly in this area. And that's really the third pillar. So obviously Batory in the area of nutraceuticals plays a critical role in the first two pillars. And then it's up to us to complete the play in a major way on the B2C side, on the third pillar, which is obviously extremely critical. We leverage the benefits of the economies of scale to significantly lower our overall cost of goods. And then as we build the brand and we go direct to the consumer, we're able to harvest the benefits of those significant margins. This over here, I'm going to take you through a quick, like 1.5 minute video of our Israel site. It is in Hebrew, but for those of you that don't read Hebrew, I'll give a quick voiceover, and you'll get a sense purely from the pictures of the overall look and feel. So this critical notion of 1 capsule equals the same amount of resveratrol in 1 bottle of red wine. The critical calorie elements, we have a very unique partner, Dr. Carrazzo, helping us. We have testimonials from our consumers. We have a unique conversion tool that we're using as well. We're driving physical and emotional connection with the consumer. We have a 90-day money-back guarantee. A lot of science here communicating the benefits of our product and the reasons to believe. And the 100% guaranteed 90-day money-back guarantee is a major play in Israel. Very few companies provide this. And we've also re-anchored our pricing. I'll talk about that in a second. Being able to move people to actual subscription and really rewarding them for purchasing over a long period of time. You see, we have 2-month offer, 4-month offer, 8-month offer, and 12-month offer. This is a technology section where we talk about our biofarming technology and how it relates to VINIA, talk about all our clinical trials. And obviously it's important for us also to show the team, the overall team, every single member of the team playing a pivotal role in bringing the business to the marketplace. And our head of customer success, Michael, that many of you may know in Israel, giving access to consumers. The website is vinia.co.il. You may feel free to go online after the call and play around with the site. I think it's a beautiful site. The positioning of the brand as being stylish, sophisticated, but also obviously bringing in the significant evidence-based science behind our product. And this really is a very important positioning that we want to deploy in the marketplace in Israel. And then obviously as we test and learn for the major launch for us in the US, which is planned for Q1 2021. I'm going to play a short video, which is one of the videos on the site, which talks about VINIA and the benefits of VINIA. It's introduced by Professor Rafi Carrazzo, who is a very well-known, Dr. Gupta version for Israel, very credible. He actually introduces the mechanism of action for the product. And so I'm going to share this with you. It is in Hebrew, but from the visuals, you'll get a good sense of how we communicate the benefits here in Israel.
בוויניה רכיב הסופר רסברטרול, שמקורו בטבע בענבים אדומים, יחד עם הפוליפנולים, פועלים יחדיו באופן סינרגיסטי ובשיתוף פעולה. דבר המאפשר ספיגה מרבית בגוף האדם לקבלת השפעה מרבית על הצרכן. הרסברטרול פועל בשיתוף עם קומפלקס הפוליפנולים נמצאים בענבים, כדוגמת קטקינים, קוורציטין, תיאנינים ואנטוציאנינים. המבנה והריכוז האופטימליים שלהם מאפשרים למקסם את עוצמת הפעילות המשותפת שלהם.
במחקר קליני שערכה החברה, נמצא כי ויניה מסייעת בהרחבת כלי הדם ב-148% בממוצע. מסייעת בשיפור זרימת הדם ושמירה על בריאות הלב, כמו גם על חיוניות וערנות ברמות גבוהות יותר. בנוסף, נמצא במחקר שוויניה מסייעת בפעילות אנטי-חמצונית, בהתמודדות עם רמות הסוכר בדם, בייחוד עם אלו הנגרמות כתוצאה מגיל ומטאבוליזם, וכן מסייעת בהפחתת חמצון ה-LDL כולסטרול. קפסולה אחת של ויניה שקולה לכמות הרספרטרול בבקבוק יין אדום אחד. אז עכשיו תוכלו ליהנות בכל יום מוויניה, על כל יתרונותיו, ללא סוכר, 2 קלוריות לקפסולה וללא אלכוהול.
Vinia, a gift of life. Again, a lot of these videos will be on our site. You can have a look at it when you go online. What's also really important for us is the consumer experience as we drive the conversion funnel. And we really, for me, you know, coming from the consumer business, consumer's always king, and we have to give them the best branded experience. So for all our consumers, to drive them through the conversion funnel, and just given the linkage of Vinia to the French paradox, and the fact that we in every single capsule of Vinia, in every 400 milligram capsule of Vinia, we have as much resveratrol, natural pea-seed resveratrol, as contained in 1 full bottle of red wine. We decided for those consumers who are actually purchasing 4 months, 8 months, or 12 months, we would deliver the product with an amazing experience, and we would motivate them to drive conversion into the 4-month or 8-month or 12-month overall subscription by offering a free bottle of a very premium red wine here in Israel. So that it will come in a box like you see now, delivered to their house. And then you open it up, you see over here a beautiful box. Again, that core visual communicating 1 capsule is the same amount of natural pea-seed resveratrol as 1 bottle of red wine. And then we have another small box, again, just building the excitement and the experience. You open it up and you see that capsule. And then in addition, we deliver the boxes of Vinia for the consumer based on what they've ordered. This is how people remember brands. This is how they build experiences and build loyalty. And this is something that we're testing for the US launch. Okay, I now want to spend a few minutes on the corporate update before we then turn to a Q&A session. I'm just letting in a few people, a few late laggards. Okay, so let's now move into the corporate update. You know, we've worked really hard over the last 90 days to raise over $3.3 million. I think this really is a testament to the belief and the confidence that investors have in the technology and the overall management and capability of the business, and our ability to deliver a strategy, a growth strategy, which is going to be able to take the business to the next level, and our ability to execute on this, specifically, as everybody can appreciate, in very, very challenging environment to raise this amount of money. So we obviously, this is important for us. We have all the resources we need to operate and to execute and to do what we need to do to really build the momentum in the business. When we stepped back and we looked at the company and looked at, you know, basically the overall vision of the company and what we stood for, we felt that the current visual identity that we had, whilst it did a really good job for the business over the last 5-6 years, we felt that we needed to basically step back, re-look at what the core values of the company were, what our core capabilities are, what our focus areas are, because a lot's changed, you know, in the last 4, 5 months, 6 months. We see it in the growth strategy, and we felt that we needed to reflect that in critical areas like our overall logo, our visual identity system, and specifically, we needed to have a corporate website that really reflected the level of professionalism, the level of capability and focus that the business has in an area that we are world experts. I'm really excited today to share to share with you the work that was led by Vivian Rakib, our special projects manager, together with a lot of hard work from Zaki. They did a great job, and I feel like we've landed in a space that really reflects the values of the business, the brand, and demonstrates the capabilities that we have. So let me take you through this, this interesting journey. So let's first start with the old logo. You know, I think, as I said, it worked very hard for us. You know, had the right colors, the greens of nature, the blue colors reflecting the science, the direction, moving up, pointing forward, and the logo type being very futuristic at the time. This is back 5-6 years ago. And when we stepped back and we said, okay, well, what are our goals as we look to evolve the overall visual identity system? Obviously, nature was very important. How we blend nature with science and leverage the power of nature with the power of science. How we encapsulate the power of nature and bring that wellness. How we are at the core a plant cell growth company. These are all critical facets that we needed to make sure came alive in a stronger way in the visual identity system. So we went back and we looked at some basic inspiration. And obviously, when we look at BioHarvest, the V is a very powerful icon today. And we looked at V connecting to the leaf, connecting to plant, because at the end of the day, we start with the plant. We're leveraging the active ingredients and the secondary metabolites from the plants that we obviously are growing in our cells. And then obviously the overall O in bio is also very important and kind of led to the inspiration of a capsule-like figure, given the importance of bringing that health and wellness to the consumer on an everyday basis. So I'd like to share with you the new BioHarvest symbol. This is like let's call it the icon. Okay, you see here the V being brought to life by the leaf and keeping the power of the cells, because at the end of the day, the cells is where our magic is. As we grow the critical secondary metabolites that are so important for the human body to function. And now I'd like to unveil the new logo. And I'll let you just sit on and look at it for 5-10 seconds. We're very happy with it. It really puts us very clearly in the overall space of biotech leadership, bringing at the heart, at the core, science, leveraging science to drive overall health and wellness, and then really anchoring us in who we are. We are a plant cell growth company. That is my very short 10-second elevator pitch. If somebody asks me the question, at the core, we are a unique plant cell growth company. I hope you all like it. I hope you all feel the same way. We unveiled it actually to all the staff today. We got a very positive reception, quite emotional as well, just given all the hard, tears and passion and sweat that they've put in. Many of them have put into the business over the last 10 years. We have many of our employees that have been here, really right from the beginning, specifically on the science side of the business. And now I want to share with you just a quick 1-minute overview of our new website, which is bioharvest.com. Again, you can go and spend a little bit of time, again, just anchoring in the plant cell-based growth company, helping people understand how big is our addressable market, a little bit about our story. There's some really nice videos as well. This is I really like this part of the site where we talk about the breakthrough nature of how we use science to unlock the power of nature, explaining the importance of the secondary metabolites, talking about what we call our 6 C's, which is the competitive advantage, all around cleanliness, consistency, the right complex of cannabinoids, how we care for the planet. Cost is a critical component of that as well. Our values, science, sustainability, regulatory compliance, the management team, board of directors, very important for investors. A little bit of our journey. I've done it pretty quick because I want you guys to explore, but I just want to give you a sense of how it all comes together. And now just talking about the size of the markets. We've talked about this already in the presentation. The technology, some good understanding of our technology is very important. Biofarming process, key critical steps in the process. And then always making sure we get people to join, to join the revolution. Our products, our partners, our B2C capabilities, and then obviously as important in a corporate site, the investor section. So this is still work in progress. It's live now. We'll continue to improve it as we will our B2C site in Israel. But I think we're really happy with the start that it gives us, and it gives us that really important level of leadership and professionalism that we're continuously striving for. Okay, so in closing, I think what's really important for me to achieve today is, I think it was like 5 weeks ago, September the 5th, we shared, August the 5th, I shared the growth strategy after roughly being 90 days in the business. We now fast forward another 35 days. I really hope you're able to get a good sense of our focus and ability to execute, and what we're able to actually ensure that we do what we say we're going to do. Because at the end of the day, once you have a strategy, you don't have to keep on revisiting that strategy every single day. What my 18 years at Coke taught me was how to execute, and the importance of staying focused on executing on that strategy. And that's what you're seeing today, how we're executing on the critical route to market pillars of the B2B and B2C in both nutraceuticals and the cannabis side of the business, with the strategic long-term partnership with Batory Foods. It's a 7-year partnership that we've signed together with them, exclusive performance-based, that you've seen the same ability to execute in the important B2C capabilities as we build our e-commerce capabilities and drive conversion. And then obviously it's important that, we actually have the look and the feel and the communication to our investors and to media as it relates to all those critical communication points, like the website and the visual identity system. So it's all about execute, execute, and execute. And I'm now going to open it up to Q&A. I'm going to unmute Vince. We've got a good, 20 minutes. Vince has another important meeting to run to in 20 minutes, but we have 20 minutes for some Q&A. So I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, and I now need to look at the chat for some questions. Okay, I'm going to answer Armin's question. Do you yourself take Vinia? If so, how often? So I wanted to tell you, Armin, I've been taking Vinia for about 6 months. I normally take, for me, my usage of Vinia is very much driven by what you saw, the elasticity of the artery and the increased blood flow and the increased oxygen levels, which really at the end of the day gives you a lot more vitality and energy. So on a regular day, I take one every single morning. On a day like last night where I had 3 hours sleep, it's two a day for me. And I must tell you, over the last few weeks, I've actually given Vinia to quite a few friends in my circle. And without getting into too much detail, it's amazing the impact of the product on really helping people. And I encourage you to go into the website, look at the testimonials. We will translate some of those testimonials into English so you can hear people's stories. Every time we show a person related to Vinia on our website, it's part of our value system. They all are Vinia consumers. Every single person that we use in our website. Okay. So I'm going to, there's a message from Giorgio Pagani. What kind of investors participate in the private placement? I think really it was a combination of strategic as well as heavy net worth individuals that really had a significant appreciation for the overall biotech space. We find that we're attracting a lot of sophisticated biotech investors. On the as far as bigger strategic players, as Vince mentioned, Batory Foods were an important part of the overall investment, and we also have another very strategic investor here in the Israeli market. Okay, just give me a sec just to process some of the questions and so I think I'm going to share this question with Vince. The question is around, sorry if I missed this, have your sales projections changed as a result of this partnership? When do you expect first revenues? So Vince, maybe you want to talk a little bit about you know, our process to market, and then I'll talk about the implications as far as the bottom line, albeit being careful around forward-looking statements.
Yep. Yeah, so, you know, as Ilan alluded to in a couple of slides that he took everyone through, we're going to go through a process of identification of the right customers. Once we've identified those customers, you know, then we're going to move into the execution phase of engagement with those customers. And usually the process is started by sampling, and then depending on whether it's a straight replacement of some synthetic ingredient, which, you know, there are some opportunities out there, you know, that can be quite quick, you know, in the space of 2 to 3 months, depending on inventory. If it requires reformulation, and again, it depends on the scale of the company. So a startup is a lot quicker. So you could see, you know, 6 to 9 months. And then with larger entities, you get into, you know, at least 12 months of reformulating and testing and doing some consumer work. So, you know, we certainly, from our point of view, we expect to see revenue in 2021. But, you know, it'll be a J curve. It'll be slow based on, you know, how the individual customer engagement and the product formulation work accelerates. Now, being realistic, COVID has slowed some of that down because it's harder to get to customers. But that aside, you know, those times that I said are probably, you know, in the ballpark on how long it'll take to either get conversion or to get use in some application.
I think it actually, just adding to that, thank you, Vince, it actually plays into our hand because, you know, right now we have our facility that is able to produce 2 tons a year, and the availability of the 20 tons per annum starting in early Q3 gives us really the next, like, let's call it 9 months to really hit the road and to focus on the key customers, to be part of the selling process and working through their formulation, supply chain stability testing. So it actually gels very well. If we had customers tomorrow that wanted, and it may happen, and they wanted, you know, 5, 10 tons of VINIA, you know, we're not there and able to produce. We will become early Q3. Vince, there's another question. I think just I want to monopolize your time while you're with us. This is for Vince. Based on your conversations with your team and their customers, what type of customer products do you think are going to be initially the most interested in adding VINIA?
You know, as Ilan said, dietary supplements, and that could be powders and gummies and capsules, nutrition bars. You know, we've already had an inquiry, you know, of a lead that Ilan had for a nutrition bar. You know, you could, you know, I'm pretty sure that when Ilan and I go and engage with a large yogurt manufacturer, that'll turn into an opportunity. So it's not going to be everywhere. But if you remember the slide that Ilan showed in the about Batory and where our competencies are, and there was 5 bubbles. Probably the one with the least application is beverages, I'd say, in this case. But still, beverages is an opportunity. But the other 4 are probably where the majority of the target customers and target applications will be.
Thanks, Vince. I think also, you know, for us, the whole snack foods area, the cereal area,
Exactly.
Gels, as the dairy industry is just is really crying for this kind of ingredient, from major protein milks that are looking for better, you know, functional ingredients, all the way to boring cottage cheese, which is a category that has been sleeping for the last 30 years, all the way through to just, you know, your value-added milk out there. And, you know, as I said, snack bars, cereals. In the sports nutrition space, there's a tremendous opportunity. Companies out there with gels and so more to come in that space. But, you know, we feel very comfortable, and obviously my plan working together with Batory and Vince's team is to really be in a situation where come early third quarter, as we open up the facility, you know, we have the demand there, and it's just about meeting that demand from a supply perspective. And I feel very confident, you know, that with the right surgical approach, just given the versatility of the product, we can play in coffee. We've had inquiries in chocolate. We've had inquiries in chewing gum. If you look at chewing gum, the last innovation in chewing gum was xylitol. Okay, some of you may remember xylitol in chewing gum. Well, you know, putting vinegar in chewing gum is a game changer because you're actually chewing it, and just from the salivary glands, the absorption of the product is at its peak in those kind of conditions. So, you know, and importantly as well, the one thing that we should, you know, we should not undersell is the fact that the uniqueness of vinegar, we're able to extend the shelf life of these products in many cases because of the high level of antioxidants that we have in our product, which reduces the oxidation of the other ingredients. And we found that in all of our R&D work. So as a salesperson, when you're sitting with a major food manufacturer and brand owner, you're able to talk about all the health and wellness credentials. But then when you're talking to this, and you know, that's obviously very compelling. When you talk to the supply chain guys, you're like, guys, this is going to extend your supply chain by maybe 30, 40%. And when you talk to the manufacturing guys and the supply chain guys, they like roll over because they get hit with those costs all the time, trying to manage in the USA in extreme heat, 40 degrees in warehouses, etc. The shelf life of many of these nutritional, better for you products is very, very challenging. Give me a sec to see a... Vince, you want to talk a little bit about CBD and hemp-based CBD and just the desire of Batory, and just in the context of the challenging supply chain of FMCG players and their requirements?
Yeah. So, you know, as Ilan knows, and Zaki and Itan, you know, that was the initial attraction to BioHarvest because, you know, as you can see, there is a significant opportunity with CBD hemp. And, you know, as Ilan talked about at the previous investor video call, the process that BioHarvest has certainly gives a lot of security and comfort to a lot of those CPGs around the cleanliness and the consistency. You know, and as both Ilan and I have worked for, you know, one of the larger beverage manufacturers in the world and one of the most conservative CPG companies when it comes to regulatory situations, these sorts of innovations create opportunities for them that, you know, a normal extraction process wouldn't. So that's the opportunity in the first place. Once you know, once the CBD hemp is available, you know, even though that there's no federal approval by the FDA, we do have opportunities to go sell the product in the 11 or 12 states that it is legal today. There are some issues around the banking side of it, but you can work around it without doing anything that's not legal. So, you know, obviously we're very excited about that. I do expect that with this media announcement, we are going to get inquiries from some of our customers already, because we do work with a number of nutraceutical companies that do make gummies today. And we do sell other ingredients to people that are making CBD products today.
Thanks, Vince. I just want to go back to the point around, are we going to change our sales projections? You know, frankly, you know, the projections that I provided last meeting related to the revenue of the business, estimated projected revenue of $2.5 to $3.5 million that our superfruits vertical would be would be positive in 2021, with that $2.5 to $3.5 million in revenue. And in 2022 overall, we would be cash positive. Basically, I did that in the context of knowing that we were going to have a powerhouse partner on the B2B side and B2B2C side. Obviously, as the momentum builds and the capability builds, there are opportunities to stretch that. But right now, I think, I'd rather be in a situation that we under-promise and over-deliver. And obviously, as we get into this and we see momentum building, if necessary, we will change that guidance. But what's important as well is the B2C business and what we're doing in Israel now. As you recall, back in 2017, 2018, when the company did actually drive B2C paid marketing, the company was able to get to roughly $50,000 a month in Little Israel. Our plan is to very quickly get to that level and obviously exceed it. And we're really looking forward to, starting pressing the button on all the paid media, which we'll probably land up doing in the next 7 to 10 days. We're just going through the website, making sure there's no bugs, making sure absolutely everything's perfect. So when we start spending money, we're able to ensure that the overall experience for the consumer is absolutely flawless. Somebody asked me a little bit about Canada. I think it's important to talk about Canada. The agreement with Batory Foods is very, very focused right now on the US. Batory Foods does have also extensive capabilities and strength within the Canadian market. And obviously, for us, the US market is a big market for us to conquer. And we're going to start with that. We've started the regulation process now. We're at the initial stages of the regulatory process as far as Canada is concerned. We'll probably start there initially B2C, but I think if all things going well and the partnership is working, definitely it's a discussion that we will have with Vince and his team. So that's really, obviously Canada is important. We are a Canadian company and we want to have the ability to very, very quickly start to sell product in Canada. If there are any people or investors that are in Canada and want the product, reach out to us. We are right now shipping consistently product from Israel to Canada. And once we set up our US business in early first quarter, it's going to be a lot more seamless shipping from the US into Canada. I think just somebody asked, where do we stand with other products such as Olivia and Pomia? Basically, for us on Olivia and Pomia, the focus right now is Vinia. The size of the prize is just significant. We need to give a good 18 months on Vinia and driving Vinia. Our intent is in 2022 to bring Olivia to market. Vince and I have been talking about that. There's already a lot of excitement from the sales team on Olivia and all the benefits that Olivia has, all the benefits of a Mediterranean diet, 0 calories, even though you're consuming huge amounts of a perfect complex of all the different secondary metabolites contained in olives. So that'll be a 2022 launch and then follow 2023 with Pomia. I've got one last message about marketing spend for Vinia for the first 12 months in the US. I'm assuming, let's talk B2B and then we'll talk B2C. On the B2B front, contractually within our agreement, we have a joint marketing fund. So with every kilo that we sell, both parties put a certain amount of money into a fund that we utilize for marketing requirements. Obviously, what's unique about Vince and his team, they have very unique relationships, given the fact that they're doing millions of dollars of business with all these major players. So there's not a huge need for us to be doing heavy marketing B2B, but there will be a need at certain exhibitions and certain other critical B2B marketing that we will do. And there is enough money in this joint marketing fund for us to do that and more. And if necessary, based on the commitment of both partners, we'll invest more into the overall pot of money based on the requirements. On the B2C side, given the margins of the business, I don't want to be specific and give numbers, but the B2C side of the business allows us to spend very heavily because the margins are just so exceptionally high, because I'm able to capture the full value chain of profit. And, when our intent in the US, in Israel now, we're selling Vinia from, between $30 and $35 based on our new pricing, per month, $30 to $35 per month, based on whether you're buying, 1 month or 12 months. Similarly, it will be similar pricing in the US. We'll probably get to below the $30 magical price point. But even at that price point, there are very, very healthy margins. Our expectation is to spend a good part of our gross profit into marketing to build the brand. And as Vince and I have discussed, that's also really, really important. As you remember, I talked about the Intel Inside strategy. Vince and his team going and driving Vinia into the products, existing products, new products of major food, beverage, nutraceutical companies with that Vinia Inside strategy. And that's kind of like the tanks coming in, and then the Air Force is the B2C coming in, really building the brand, having people really understand the power of that. Vince, you want to talk about that at all? And then we can close up.
Yeah, as Ilan said, that the dual-pronged approach, specifically with, an ingredient such as this, there's a real multiplier effect there in the engagement that you have with manufacturers, especially if they can see that there are marketing dollars, there is communication of the story and the benefits of the science that BioHarvest have created. Certainly make the engagement a lot easier. And then in some cases, as Ilan said, somebody may want to leverage the equity of Vinia by the Vinia Inside, and that'll be a customer by customer conversation. Some won't, because it's about their brand, but there'll be others who are looking for that level of endorsement.
Okay, great. So I just want to be conscious of time. It's been an hour. I think very appreciative of all the questions that you've provided. Hopefully we've been able to answer a number of the questions. I think, ultimately we're at a very exciting juncture into the business. We've really built foundational capabilities, that is able to monetize the power of our R&D and of our science. And now it's all about executing with the right partners, as specifically with the Batory deal that allows us to really build that competitive advantage. Many companies would absolutely die to have a partner like Batory bringing them to market with the engine, the firepower that Batory has. And then at the same time, B2C, just building that capability ourselves, because we want every bit of that high margin on the B2C side of the business to fuel the business. So hopefully I've been able to continue to instill the trust and confidence trust and confidence of our shareholders and investors in the management team and the leadership of the business. And also now that we've raised the money, we've raised the dollars, I'm not spending any of my time raising money. I'm now fully focused, together with partners like Vince, together with my marketing team on the B2C side, on executing sales generation activities. So with that, I will leave you. Thank you for your interest and engagement. And I want to wish those people who it's relevant to a happy Jewish New Year and a Chag Sameach from here in Israel. Thank you.